Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, it is delightful welcoming you to the fourth edition of our webinar on the platform of the Association of Multi-Document House Practitioners. Thank you for finding time to join us. With you on board, it promises to be a very engaging session. We are delighted to have a very seasoned and special speaker on board today. And the icing of the cake is the highly revered ADR practitioners that have taken time to join us in today's webinar, pulling resources together to make it a memorable and remarkable one. Thank you for finding time to join us. The topic of our webinar today is insights into the life of a mediator. Beginning today's proceedings, it is delightful by bringing you a very short clip that speaks to what the Association of Multi-Document Practitioners entail. What do we stand for? What are our objectives? If you don't mind, I'll be sharing my screen shortly to take you on a journey of the Association of Multi-Document Practitioners and then proceed to read the brief profile of our speaker for today.
Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, highly esteemed area practitioners, I'm delighted to welcome you today to the fourth webinar of the Association of Multi-Document House Practitioners with the topic Insights into the Life of a Mediator. It promises to be a very engaging session. If you don't mind, may I please make some introductory notes regarding the association. The Association of Multi-Document House Practitioners was established on the 11th day of November 2022 as an umbrella body for accredited alternative dispute resolution practitioners by Mr. Valentino Burrow, attorney mediator and pioneer mediation advocate in Nigeria. Mr. Burrow reasons that mediators, mediation advocates, as well as restorative justice practitioners and arbitrators who practice at multi-document houses nationwide require a common platform where they can interact, share practice knowledge, as well as set professional standards for themselves. Membership of the association is open to both lawyers and non-lawyers who are qualified by training and accreditation to practice in any multi-document house or other amicable dispute resolution forum. Initial membership of the association, which now stands at over 100 practitioners, was drawn from the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators (ICMC), the Attorney Mediators Association (ATMA), the Standing Conference of Mediation Advocates, the Nigerian Institute of Chartered Arbitrators (NICAB), Institute of Chartered Arbitrators, Lagos State Multi-Document House, Edo State Multi-Document House, Settlement House ADR Training Institutes, other multi-document houses, and other independents who signed up by way of formal application for membership. It is our hope and expectation that the association will be a bulwark of support for multi-document houses and its practitioners in the face of challenges. The association will also vigorously advocate for the uptake of ADR processes as a vital option for the resolution of legal disputes and the congestion of conventional courtrooms. Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, highly esteemed ADR practitioners and ADR enthusiasts, thank you for joining us today. You are welcome. With profound respect, may I humbly crave your indulgence as I read the brief profile of our speaker for today, no other than Suliat Olamide Salahuddin. She is the country representative of Ideal Justice Centre UK and the managing partner at Whitehall Justice Solicitors LLP. She has a rich background in alternative dispute resolution and law, with her career spanning over a decade in corporate and commercial law practice. Suliat holds a postgraduate degree in ADR from the University of Ibadan, a Bachelor of Laws from Olabisi Onabanjo University, and a Barrister at Law from the Nigerian Law School. Previously, Suliat served as the acting director of the Oyo State Multi-Door Courthouse, a court-connected ADR center, where she played a pivotal role in promoting ADR processes within the Nigerian judicial system. Her expertise encompasses domestic and international arbitration and mediation, commercial litigation, government advisory services, and cross-border trade disputes. She's passionate about improving the administration of justice in Nigeria by integrating ADR into the court system, making dispute resolution more efficient and cost-effective, and fostering foreign investment. Suliat is an active member of several prestigious local and international ADR organizations, including the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators (CIAB) UK, the International Chamber of Commerce (ICC), and the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators (ICMC). She is also an accredited mediator with both the Lagos and Oyo State Multi-Door Courthouses and Ideal Justice Centre UK. Her contributions to the field earned her recognition as a leading ADR mentor by the NBA Young Lawyers Forum Ibadan branch. Currently, our speaker for today is pursuing a PhD with a specialization in ADR, reflecting her commitment to continuous learning and professional growth. She has been a sought-after speaker at various conferences and remains dedicated to excellence, change, and serving humanity through her work in the legal and ADR field. Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, please join me as I make welcome Suliat Olamide Salahuddin.
Thank you for taking out time to listen to that wonderful introduction into the objectives of the Association of Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners and the profile of our speaker for today. If you don't mind, I have good confirmation that our speaker is already in the house. Please, Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, join me as I bring on board our revered speaker, Suliat Olamide Salahuddin. Your Excellency, we're glad having you join us today. Welcome. Confirm you can hear me?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Can hear you loud and clear. I'm so glad to be here. I appreciate the Association of the Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioner for this invitation. I'm so happy to be here to share my thoughts on the topic. Thank you.
Now, if you don't mind, permit me to begin this way. You know, whatever is successful always have a beginning. And we want you to share with us, how did it all start, your journey into ADR, as it were? In what year did you come into the alternative dispute resolution space. When did you become a professional mediator?
All right, thank you so much. My journey into the alternative dispute resolution field, particularly mediation, was started in 2016. That was when I went for my master's at University of Ibadan, Faculty of Law, University of Ibadan. So one of the courses on the list was alternative dispute resolution, and immediately I saw it, I picked interest because I've been hearing about alternative dispute resolution, but I've not really, I don't really have so much knowledge about it, even though I've been attending some workshops, everything around. So at that class, we were taught by Dr. Alera Kiredo then, now Professor Honorable Justice Alera Kiredo of the State Judiciary. So during that class, I fell in love with ADR. I found out that there's actually an alternative that can work, because apparently I started practice after call to bar, and I found out that it's not just what we thought it was, what they told us at the law school, what they told us at the university. The first case that was given to me to take to court started even before I even became a lawyer, as far back as when I was in university, in secondary school, and they are still at the trial stage. So I found that I was so happy to get to learn about this alternative, and the lecturer so much demystify it in a way that I was like, oh, this is an alternative. So there's actually something else aside the court. There is another way we can resolve the conflict without having to go to court, having to go through this acrimony system, this system that's at the end of the day, the loser and the winner. Well, sometimes both of them are still not satisfied. That is why you have appeal, and you still have cross appeal. Why is the person that win at the court of first instance still cross appealing? That means even though the person won, the person is still not satisfied. The party is still not satisfied with what they get. They wanted more. So, and then the time-consuming system, the uncertainty and everything. So I fell in love with ADR at that class, and I started pursuing it. So I can say my ADR career started in 2016. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What an interesting way to begin a flourishing career. Thank you for giving us those tips into how it all began. Now, permit me to ask, what affiliations do you have within the ADR space? Are you a member of any panel of neutrals? Are you connected to any multi-court house? What is your relationship between you and other institutions and practitioners within the ADR space?
All right, thank you. Okay, so let me answer that question by saying after my master's, then after falling in love with ADR, then I started pursuing certification in ADR. I think then I started with ICMC with the associate course, Introduction to Mediation. So after that, I approached some ADR practitioners, particularly my lecturer then, Dr. Amira Kirigolu, and my mentor, Mrs. Komi Roberts. So both of them were the two first people that actually brought me into mediation, into ADR. I was under their pupillage. I had the opportunity of watching mediation. I had the opportunity of acting as registrar for them during mediation session. So I took my first course under ICMC, and then I kept growing. I did courses with chartered arbitrators. So, and then in 2017, I joined the Oyo State Multi-Law Court House as one of their pioneer staff. So at the Oyo State Multi-Law Court House, I had the full opportunity to embrace ADR, to embrace mediation. So I connect a lot with several institutions, have relationship with several institutions, I have interface with Lagos multi-law courthouse, charter mediators and facilitators, mediation institutes. And I can say Mr. Ambassador Shegun Ogunyowo was one of the people that actually influenced my total submission for ADR and for mediation. You know, when it took us the course back then in 2017, and since then I've had good relationship with him. And then SCMA, that is SCMA, that is, I want to remember the full name now.
Standing Conference of Mediation.
Standing Conference of Mediation Advocates, yes. At one point or the other, as a staff of the multi-law, I've trained under them, I've interfaced with them, I've collaborated with them to organize trainings. Yes, so I can say yes, I interface a lot with ADR institutions across the country and even outside of the country, and I interface a lot with ADR practitioners across the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been said that a tree cannot make a forest. We are glad to hear that great minds have influenced you positively. Our topic today is insights into the life of a mediator. Now, looking at your mediation career that has spanned over the past years, I want you to take us on a journey, a practical experience that was so memorable in a live mediation. Please, if you don't mind, share some experiences with us, your interface with parties, what may have happened. Just give us a little tips of how you've been handling parties, how you've been handling disputants in your session, something that we can relate to.
All right, thank you so much. I can say in the last 7 years, I've done nothing. I've done so much. I'm supposed to grade what I've done legally. I can say 60% of the work I've done in the last 7 years is ADR, mediation, arbitration, negotiation, and all. So yes, mediation room can be quite interesting. Everything we learned during trainings come out real life, practical. And then you start remember when Mr. Ogunyowo said this, when Dr. Adams said this during training, when Mrs. Yikaroye said this, and everything started coming together during the mediation session. And I can say I had several cases. Yes. Okay, let me touch managing parties during mediation. You know, at every mediation training, we are going to learn personality types, and during that class, you'll be laughing. Oh, what am I? What's really? We have people like this and that. So I had a mediation like that when I had to manage a very, very difficult party. You know, sometimes some parties are in the room. When they came to the room, they came with, we are coming here to fight it, we are going to slug it out, and we are not going to settle. We are going to go back, especially when the cases are referred from the court. But, you know, when that kind of situation comes in, then that training we got during mediation trainings will just come back, and then you remember your training on personality types. And like when you have a client who has this mentality of I'm not coming to settle, you know, you try and manage the person with effective communication, like breaking down why the person is in mediation, the benefits of mediation, and why you think the person should actually settle, why you think it's better that the case should be settled in mediation and not taken back to court. Sometimes you can bring out the weakness in the party's case in a way that you allow the party to self-reflect on the facts, self-reflect on what the consequence of not settling might be in court. And with that, you can be able to break such party to want to listen to you and actually want to settle. And sometimes you find parties who don't just want to talk. They are not the talking type. And in mediation, parties just have to talk. So that's that kind of party, I call them to caucus, and then I try and discuss with them. I make them feel at home. I make them feel comfortable. I repeat the fact that there's confidentiality. They should feel free and speak. The importance of them speaking out, and the fact that I'm actually here to see to how we can both work together. You know, when you tell somebody who thinks, no, I'm not working with you, tell the person, we're actually here to work together to find a resolution that would work for both parties, not just because party A was the person that brought the case, but a resolution that will work for both of you. I remember a particular case. It's based on a breach of contracts, and then we were on the matter for the mediator that was handling. Then I was the acting director at the Oyo State Multi-Law Court House, and the mediator that was handling the matter had spent 3 months on the matter, and it's like they've been going back and forth. So at a point, the mediator tell me, Madam Director, I think we'd have to sign a form of inability to resolve in this matter because we are not heading anywhere. So at that point, I said, please, if you don't mind, can I come in and speak to the parties? So I called the parties to caucus meeting, and I had a discussion with them. I already am aware of the case. I know the facts of the case. I had discussion with them, and I made them understand why they need to settle. And in fact, as a lawyer, I educated them on the consequences of going to court, what they are likely to meet if they go back to the courts. And at that point in time, we had a turnaround of the parties now wanting to listen and wanting to settle their matter. And then I assured them that just give us one more time to look into this, and we are going to see to the resolution of the matter. And trust me, the party said, okay, no problem. Let's see how it goes, but on the condition that you would also join in this and co-mediate. So, okay, I said, that's fine. I sought for the consent of the mediator to co-mediate with the mediator. And then the mediator agreed, and then we picked a date to go into the mediation again. And then on the next date, came back together, and then we started with caucus meeting with the parties. We stopped meeting them together. We found out that once the parties are, seeing each other, it's like even seeing each other is bringing some kind of hurtful feeling. So we decided, okay, let's make them comfortable sitting aside. So we had several caucus meetings from party A to party B, party A to party B. And at the end of the session that day, we were eventually able to resolve the dispute. And believe me, by the time we brought the parties back, when it's time to do the terms of settlement, when we left the room, I myself and the main mediator left the room to go and draft the settlement agreement.
Hello,
by
sir.
the time we came back to the room, we met the parties discussing the next contract.
Hello?
We were like, really? So, really? So, there is actually a lot you can do together. And both of them were so happy. And, one of them had 2 other cases in court. And the person said, please, the party asked, how can I bring this? I have 2 cases in court. How can I bring them? I would just tell your lawyer to write to the court that you want your case referred to the court. So today, even before that party would take any matter to the courts, that particular party would come to the mediation first to say, yes, sir, we have this issue. We want to bring it for mediation. And I think another one I would love to share is one that I had with a particular family. You know, it has to do with their family property, and the head of the family was, you know, dealing with the property without the consent of other members of the family. So at a point in time, they decided you are no longer the head of family. They removed him, and then it became a big problem. So they came for mediation. There were like 50 of them, family members. You know, some people on the side of the end of the family, some people on the other side, pointing, accusing fingers. It was a real serious very, very loud mediation. They were screaming at the top of their voice, as in it was really rowdy and crowdy. So at a point in time, I just told them, okay, can we all settle? And then settled, and I asked them, this is everyone in this room belongs to this family, yes or no? They said yes. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is we are going to change our seating arrangements. So I said, oh, you sitting on this side, please, can you stand up, sir? Please go to this side. So that way, they were sitting separately. I just turned the whole room together. So there is no opposing party. All of them are now sitting, you know, side by side. And after doing that, and I then asked them, can you imagine why you were all growing up in the family house then, when you are all small, you know, you go out and play football, you go out and do this, you go out and do that. You know, everyone started talking about when they were young, all the activities they used to do, how they used to gather in the evening and play together, how they used to do during festive periods. And the atmosphere of the room changed immediately because I took them down memory lane. I made them understand you are still family, the same way you were family when you were young. You are still family. And this dispute is not going to tear this family apart. The atmosphere of the room changed immediately, and everyone came down to my level and they started talking. And believe me, right there and there, they told me, Madam Mediator, after like 1 hour, they said, Madam Mediator, you know what? Would love to go and hold a family meeting at our family house on Sunday at this particular time. And we want you to be in that meeting. And I said, no, I don't have to be. I would want you to go and hold that meeting as a family. I won't be there. I want you to go back to how you used to be when you are all living in the family house and have that meeting. You know, by the time and then we adjourned for 2 weeks. When they came back after 2 weeks, they came with their own terms of settlement. All I needed to do was to just reduce it into our own format, and the parties settled. So mediation room is very interesting. Each dispute with its own dynamics. Sometimes you think this is a simple matter. In 1 hour, I should be out of this mediation room. By the time you get into the room, you find out that what they have on paper is actually not the problem. And then you need to get the party to actually tell you what the problem is. And then by the time you use all those techniques we learned during our mediation trainings, you will be able to dig deep into the parties, get to know what the dispute is, get to know what each party really wants regarding settlement. And then you'll be able to break it, and then you move the parties little by little towards mediation. I can tell you, mediation room is very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our highly esteemed speaker for today. Thank you for that insightful story. It is obvious that you've had interface with parties in so many mediation sessions. And if you had all the time, I'm aware you would have been able to take us through more experiences. Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, we are live on the platform of Association of Multi-Doctor House Practitioners on our fourth webinar with the theme, Insights into the Life of a Mediator. Our spokesperson today is none other than a highly revered mediator, Suliat Olamide Salahuddin. I'm sure I got that correctly. At this juncture, if you don't mind, we want to appreciate everyone that has taken time to join us today. A lot of highly esteemed practitioners are on the call. We appreciate if you don't mind, just drop your name and where you are joining from. We'd love to know your location. And please feel free to drop any question you wish the speaker to speak on the chat box. Let's see your name. Let's know where you're joining us from. You want to make any contribution, you want a question to be answered, please feel free. Let's be engaging. Let's take advantage of the chat box. Thank you, and thank you. Back to our speaker. You are an ADR practitioner. You are also a legal practitioner. Permit me to ask, if you don't mind, being a lawyer, does it make you a better mediator? Or as a mediator, are you a better lawyer? What is the connection? How do you connect both? How do you flow as an ADR practitioner and as a legal practitioner?
All right, thank you. Yes, I would say being a mediator makes me a better lawyer. Yes, because as a lawyer, I know what the law says. I know the position of the law on issues, and then issues will come to mediation. And being a lawyer makes me understand the issues better, and then make me understand how to deal with the parties, having understand the issues, the position of the law. That at every time assists me in dealing with parties. Now, the relationship. When parties come to mediation, there is an issue. And most times when they come, what they believe is, I have a right. The other party has an obligation, which the other party has failed in performing. And that is why we are here. So, having the understanding of the legal position on the assumed rights and the assumed obligation makes me a better mediation. Because now I have something more in my back. I know the position of the law. So, in addressing the parties during mediation, especially difficult parties or parties who don't even understand the position regarding the disputes and they're just, blowing up what is not. My understanding of law will come in to assist me. Let me pick the instance of a landlord and a tenancy matter, for instance. Most time when landlord serves tenants with notices at the end of their tenancy or during when the tenancy is running, they have this, I don't know where they get it from, this popular position that once the landlord serves me with a notice to quit, I am not going to pay a penny till I give the property. And they will hold so tight to that position and say, yes, my tenancy ended in December 2023, and my landlord serves me notice. I'm entitled to 6 months. And even that 6 months, I'm not going to pay. And then my understanding of the law, I would call that person into caucus and I will explain what the position of the law is and break it down as if I'm explaining to a 5-year-old. like, sir, this position you're holding is not right. If that is the reason you think you have rights and this person owes you something, and then by the time I'm able to explain what the position of the law is, you find out that that will help me in getting into the mind of that party and changing the mindset with which the party comes into the mediation room. And then with that, the party will now see such party asking, so then how do we go about it? Then what is my right? Then what other alternatives do I have? Then what can we do in this situation? So I can say there is a relationship with being a mediator and being a lawyer. So as being a lawyer helps me in mediation, yes, a whole lot, because I'm able to demystify issues more with my knowledge of, we did psychology while in undergraduate, we did sociology, we did a lot of borrowed courses. So, as lawyers, we are expected to know everything. So even any issue that comes up, my knowledge of law in every issues, my knowledge of law in contracts, my knowledge of law in matrimonial, my knowledge of everything would just come together in that mediation room. And then I'll be able to understand the issues, understand the position of the law, understand the position of the parties, be able to adjust them from what they think it is to what it actually is. And then with that, I'll be able to break into their mind, change the mindset, and then be able to move them to options they have, and then be able to move them towards settlements, into what that would be beneficial to both parties. So I can say it's intertwined, it's interrelated, and I think being a lawyer makes me a better mediator. Yes.
Thank you so much, highly esteemed speaker. Thank you for that illustration and answers. I want to appreciate everyone that has dropped their name and location on the chat box. I want to encourage every other person, please, we would love to know your name and where you're joining us from. Some questions are already being dropped on the chat box. Thank you. We're going to be taking them shortly. We'll go on a very short break. Someone shared a very entertaining video with me, and I want to quickly share it with everyone. We'll come back, and when we come back, we want to look at the connection between appropriate use of questioning skills and communication in a mediation session. Please hang on as we take a short look at this video.
How old is a person born in 1928?
Man or woman?
Why?
Specifics, Bob.
Okay, one more time. How old is a man born in 1928?
Still alive?
If a man is born in 1928 and he's still alive, how old is he?
What month?
If a man was born October 3rd, 1928, and he's still alive, how old is he?
What time?
10 o'clock p.m.
Where?
Anywhere.
Well, let's get specific, Bob. I mean, if the guy's still alive, born in California, October 3rd, 1928, 10 p.m., he's 67 years, 9 months, 22 days, 14 hours, and 12 minutes. If he's born in New York, he's 3 hours older now, isn't he?
Welcome back. I hope you got the essence of that very short clip. We still have with us our highly revered speaker for today, Suliat Olamide Salahuddin. Thank you for finding time to join us. From your experience interfacing with disputants having different personality types in mediation, how have you been able to use properly and adequately questioning skills in helping them communicate their divergent views and assisting them to reach an amicable resolution? How have you been able to craft your skills in assisting disputants resolve their dispute?
Yes, the sources of mediation of a mediator in making each party in dispute listen to you. Question, the way you ask question is important to communication in mediation. So effective questioning is like a skill, a necessary skill for a mediator, because the way you ask the question is influence the kind of response you are going to get from the parties. So in asking question, you must take note of the personality type of the party before you. And then that would one way influence how the kind of question you are going to ask them and the response you are going to expect from them. So effective questioning is like one tool that must always be in the back of a mediator when the mediator is inside the room. Because the way you ask questions is it will influence the response you're going to get and would go also influence how the party will perceive you or perceive your intellectual capacity to be able to resolve that dispute. In fact, it goes to your neutrality and impartiality. If, for instance, someone have alleged that, let's say in a husband and wife dispute, the husband has alleged that my wife is always coming late, and that is why we are always having problems. And then you turn to the wife and ask, why do you always come late? Why do you always return home late? Already, the wife will just look at you like, it's like you've accepted that position already. So why are you asking me? If you're asking me why am I always coming late, that means you already take it as is correct, is right. I'm always coming late. But if you ask the wife, madam, do you have a response to what Mr. A just said? You know, you are one way saying, yes, madam, I want you to confirm or retract what he have said. And you are one way also saying, explain. So, sometimes you use open-ended questioning that would give the party the opportunity to explore, to speak out, to communicate. But if you just ask, madam, why are you always coming late? It's like you've accepted it. So questioning is very, very important. It's at the heart of the mediation. So you have to be very, very careful the way you couch your question so that it won't look as if already you already have a mindset about the party, or you already have an established mindset about the issue. So the effective questioning is very important. A good mediator should actually know how to ask questions and even when to ask questions. Sometimes you just allow them speak. If you ask too much of questions, sometimes it breaks the parties. But if you give them the opportunity to open up themselves, asking an open-ended question, allowing them to speak into it, they would communicate with you better. And also sometimes it also depends on the party. Some parties don't want to talk. It's your line of questioning that will make them talk without actually provoking them. So the line of questioning is something that a mediator must master. How to ask questions is something a a mediator must master and be able to use effectively in mediation, depending on the issue and the parties, and even sometimes stage of the mediation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that insight. We'll quickly take a question from one of the participants, Abiodun by name. My question is, after mediation, can any of the parties appeal against the agreement entered into by the parties?
Okay, that is where pre-mediation comes in. The issues that should be discussed during pre-mediation. One of the issues that must be discussed during pre-mediation is the mediation itself and the outcome of the mediation and the consequence of the outcome of the mediation. During pre-mediation, while preparing the parties for mediation, it is important that a mediator must let the party understand what the mediation is about and the outcome of the likely outcome of mediation is either the parties resolve or the parties does not resolve. And then if the parties does not resolve, what options do they have? And then if the parties resolve, what would happen? When the parties resolve, you have to make the parties understand that anything the parties resolve to is going to be consensual. They are going to be the one to say, this is what we want. This is how we want this dispute to be resolved. And then you have to make them understand that after resolving this dispute, we are going to have the terms of settlement executed by the parties and make them understand what is the consequence of the execution of the terms of settlement. Going forward, make them know that after signing the terms of settlement, it is going to bind parties, especially in institutional arbitration or mediation. You let them understand that after this mediation agreement is signed, it becomes the agreement of the parties. If it is institutional, the mediation is conducted under an institution, you make them understand that institution is going to give consent to this, and then after it is signed and executed by the parties and their mediator, it can be taken to court and be entered as the consent judgment of the court. By the word consent, you explain to them, it means you consented to this, and there is no way you are going to go back to court and say you want this set aside or you want to appeal against it because it is consensual. So it is important that during the stage when you are preparing the parties for mediation, you make them understand the consequence, what they are in the mediation going to do, and the consequence of signing a mediation agreement. As a matter of fact, it is important that in the mediation agreement, you put it there that upon the execution of these terms of settlement, no party can say, I am no longer going to, I'm no longer going to respect the consensual agreements of the parties, or I will be able to appeal against it. So appealing settlement agreements or mediation agreements, I can say it depends on what the parties have agreed to. You know, they are supposed to sign the agreement to mediation form. So if in that agreement to mediation form or in their settlement agreement, they've agreed that that mediation agreement will not be appealable or will not be set aside, then appealing against it will be a waste of time. Because being a consent judgment, being a consensual agreement, it is not possible for one party to say, I want to renege. In most cases where such have gone on appeal, the courts have said no. you cannot, at this point, change the goalposts. This is an agreement which you entered on your own with your full consent. So I would say appealing against a party saying I want to go and appeal against a mediation agreement has like 99% likelihood of failing if the mediator have done the right thing during pre-mediation and when the parties want to execute terms of settlement, and if it is included in the terms of settlement, then appealing against it is as difficult as trying to make a horse go through the whole of the children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you for those noble thoughts. And that is why in practice, beyond the fact that parties are made to sign at their colon, usually at the back page, we also encourage parties to endorse every page of the settlement agreement to ensure the sanctity of the agreement. Thank you so much for making us understand the superiority of settlement agreement in form of consent judgment. We have a question and the floor is open. Please do well to send in your questions on the chat box. And if you wish to speak directly to the speaker, you can raise your virtual hands and we will grant you audience. Thank you for staying put. There's a question, if you don't mind. How do you handle criminally minded persons during a mediation process?
Yes, thank you. That's when effective communication comes in. You know, sometimes during mediation, you just find out that this particular party knows is the problem, or you yourself already know that this particular party is the problem, and the person is trying so much with difficult, like you say, criminally minded. That's when effective communication comes in. So at that point in time, you have to manage the urge of openly addressing the party as the problem. Now, this is the time you are going to focus instead on guiding the party to self-reflect on their contribution to the conflict. That you are going to be able to do through careful questioning. The mediator can encourage parties to consider their actions, their decisions, or inaction, or even attitudes that may have affected the other party and may have led to the whole situation. For instance, the mediator might use open-ended, non-directive questions like, what do you think the other party feels, needs to change for resolution? Or can you share your own approach to resolution? This approach allows the mediator to facilitate an environment where that party recognizes his or her own role in the dispute. There is a way you make the party feel the guilt, the heavy weight of the body without saying it. You already see it in the party that this party knows, or this party is the person that is, but you can't say it as a mediator because you'll be breaching your ethics. So that is when, if you approach it, the mediator facilitates an environment that makes that party recognize their own role in the dispute. That is when you are going to, as the mediator, you are going to now, at that point, you emphasize neutrality and objectivity. And in doing it, please try and put the person in caucus. When you find that this person knows, or this person knows the problem, caucus is one way you can achieve breaking the person and, letting the person reflect on its own through effective question. And then the mediator will now, at that point, focus on the issue rather than assigning blame. That party is not a party you want to assign blame. It's not a party you want to tell Mr. Hey, do you know that you are the one that did this? No. You are going to reframe statements to avoid judgmental language. The mediator will now tactfully address the problematic behavior or attitude without singling out any party, without particularly telling the party is wrong. Instead of saying one party, the party is at fault, you as a mediator, you could just highlight areas where you think the parties might adjust, or thereby that way that particular person will still see you as maintaining your fairness and impartiality, which is very important from the beginning till the end of the mediation. And that way too, you are making the party self-reflect. But at that point in time, you find out that the party would now be the one who would, through your tactful way of, asking the question, you will now find that the party is now the person now pouring out and saying things like, mediator, madam mediator, it's not really that I really want to put him in that situation. But you know what? I want to show him that he is nothing. I want to show him that I am this, I am that. That is when the party will come out. With that statement, your party already admits that, yes, I am actually standing on this. I'm the one that has said this. I'm the one that have done this. And then you see the party saying, okay, yes, yes, it is true that I have done this. It is true that I've said this. But okay, what do you think we can do? Or okay, what if we do this? And then that way, that at that point in time, then you can now bring up you can now suggest your resolution. You can now suggest what you think that party can do in that situation. And then you find out that you would have been able to go deep into the mind of the party and then change a lot of things and then be able to influence a change in the party. So I think it's about effective communication. It's about effective questioning. It's about identifying your personality types and be able to manage the personality type with your own knowledge of personality management. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We can't thank you less. Wish we had more time for you to do justice to all these questions. Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, I'm elated and I'm delighted to bring on board no other than the ambassador of appreciation himself, one that has given so much to ADR, both locally and globally, and is never tired, getting stronger as the day goes by. Your Excellency, Ambassador Segun Ogunyowo. The floor is yours. It is great having you speak to us today. Please unmute and share your thoughts with us, Your Excellency.
Thank you, my brother from another mother. You are a great man. I appreciate you. I am happy. I am delighted. I am as pleased as punch that I did not miss this webinar. Your worship, you are a great woman, and I appreciate you. Thank you for exuding so brilliantly. I learned a lot from this. I just want to say thank you for the great job you are doing in the space of ADR. Thank you, Your worship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I'm so glad you are here. I think I would not do well if I don't acknowledge and appreciate you so much. My first ever training in mediation was one of the faculty member when I had that training. And I think there is a way he took his trainings at just inside the room, the training room. You are so confident that, yes, I am a mediator, because you are learning under a great mediator. So thank you so much for all doing in the ADR space. We really appreciate you. Thanks for encouraging us. You are someone I look so much up to. You are a big inspiration for me anytime, any day. I'm so glad to have you as my mentor. If I can say that. I'm so glad to have you as my mentor. I appreciate the support all through the years. You've been a great pillar of support. I've learned so much from you, and at every point in time, I would just send a text message, sir, I need to talk. And you would come on board, give me enough time to demystify anything that can be the issue I'm having, maybe with any case, or I even want to take any step regarding my professional career. He's always been a pillar of support. So, sir, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for what you do. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for being our inspiration. Thanks for being the light guiding with the young ones. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you more, Your Worship. Thank you. Thank you.
No, the story of ADR cannot be complete in this space without mentioning His Excellency, Ambassador Segun Ogunyobo. When you think of the much he has done, you are dazed by the so much more he's doing. Thank you so much, sir, for being selfless. We have a question from His Worship, the Deputy Director of the Edo State Multi-Door Courthouse, my boss. She's appreciating us and appreciating the speaker for taking out time in simple words to help us understand your experiences, your rich experiences. The question is this, please, with your experience as a legal practitioner and a mediator, throw light on the fact that mediation has not come to stop lawyers from charging their legal fees. Most legal practitioners tag ADR to mean alarming drop in revenue. Now, is this true? We all know it's not true. So, Your Excellency, Suliat Olamide Salaudin, with your vast experience in the ADR world and the legal space, help us to throw more light on the fact that ADR is not in any way connected to alarming drop in revenue.
All right, thank you so much. That would take me to, I will take us back a bit to when I joined the Oyo State Multi-Door Courthouse. I joined the Oyo State Multi-Door Courthouse as a pioneer staff. And as something new in Oyo State, there was a lot of, non-acceptance from the members of the bar and even the members of the public, because they are always citing it as this has come to drop our income and everything. So, but over the years, through continuous engagement with them, trainings and retrainings, workshops for lawyers, we try and educate them on the fact that ADR have not come to take food from our table. It has actually come to put food on our table. One of the things I try to educate lawyers on, particularly when I go for workshops or talks with lawyers, I make them understand that already we have a backlog of cases in courts. And now, have you noticed that radio stations across the country, TV stations, are now taking up our duties? And artists now run radio stations than they run to we lawyers. What do you think is the problem? Then I tell them, the problem is we are no longer giving the results that the parties want. The parties are no longer getting results from lawyers. So they think by the time I go to radio stations, I will get my result fast. And that is what is actually taking food from our table. And one way to break that is to allow cases that has nothing doing in the court's list out of the court list to the ADR. Let's reduce the number of cases in courts through ADR. And with that, the cases in courts will move faster. The confidence that have been lost in lawyers, in the administration of justice, the members of the public have lost so much interest because cases are staying in court for so long. They can't put number at the number. They can't say this is the cost, this is what is going to cost me to prosecute this matter. They can't say this is the time it's going to take. So they lose their time, they lose their business, they lose their money. So let us reduce the number of cases in court. Let the cases in court move faster. And let some of those cases that can be resolved through ADR, maybe arbitration or mediation, let them go into the ADR route, and then with that, cases will move faster, and then the hope that the public have lost can be regained, and then the members of the public can start coming back to us, rather than taking these cases to the police station where it has nothing doing there as a civil matter, rather than taking it to the radio station where there are the matters that should be treated as confidential would be put in public hearing. You see a lot of things going on in radio stations. You hear issues that should be handled in a closed door, being put there in public, especially when it has to do with minors, especially when it has to do with family. Some issues that should just be resolved in the room where we have just the parties. And with that, you maintain the relationship because they are confident that, yes, we are only the person in the room. No other person heard about this case. So it will be easy for them to come back and still relate. But in a situation where the whole world, the issue has been blown to the whole world, and it is difficult to maintain that relationship again. So I told lawyers, it is really not about ADR. It's about reducing the docket of the court, letting cases that should go for ADR go for ADR. And then I tell them the second thing. Another thing you are not looking at as lawyers is this. When your matter goes for ADR, okay, when the matter is brought to you, you already build the client. Let's say for you can have a scale where in billing your lawyer, you can tell them, if this case goes to ADR, I'm going to charge you this so amount. If we eventually goes to court, I'm going to charge you this so amount. And by the time you are able to settle that dispute in ADR, you find that at ADR, you find that such party will always come back to you. Because what the party wants is actually solution. They are not interested in the number of years you want to spend in court. The party clients are solution oriented. They will go back to a lawyer that offers them solution. Compare a lawyer that offers solution in 3 months with a lawyer that offers solution in 10 years. If you are also the client, who would you go back to? They will agree to me that they will go back to the lawyer that is able to offer them solution in 3 months. So if that is the mentality of the public, as lawyers, we should also operate with that mentality. Another thing I ask them, most of these clients, before there is a dispute, there is a relationship. And most times it is a relationship that is beneficial to both parties. For instance, a banker and client relationship, where a client is having opportunity to take loan from a bank to run their business. Now the loan goes wrong, and then the party runs to you. And then you take the matter to court, and it takes 10 years. At that point in time, that client can no longer go to that bank to get a loan. One way, you are blocking the commercial opportunity your client will have gained from the party if you have settled the matter through mediation within a space of 3 months. And your client will see you as the good lawyer that have given me solution in 3 months, and run back to you and even refer clients to you. You know, most times by the time I break down those issues for lawyers, after those workshops, you see lawyers coming and saying, oh, Madam AGM, like they do call me in Ibadan, Madam AGM, so how can I bring my case? I have these 1-2 cases that I think I should bring with what you said. I think you are right. And even sometimes, you know, lawyers, when cases are referred to mediation centers and you are the mediator, you find that lawyers coming with the mentality of, we are not going to settle. But trust me, when you see such lawyer as a mediator, ensure that case is resolved in a very effective manner and with time consciousness at the back of your mind. With that, you see such lawyer coming back to you to say, I also have this case, I want to. So with the way we can change the mentality of the lawyers is letting them know the advantage, the commercial advantage in it if they resolve the matter through AGR in 6 months, compared to if they go to court and let it go for 10 years. And then again, one other point that gets lawyers is when a matter is resolved through mediation, for instance, it's final because it's consensual. And it also makes it easy for parties to comply, unlike if it is a judgment. So it's not something that's going to take food away from our table. It is actually something that will bring more food to our table. If you're able to reduce the dockets of the courts, if we are able to regain the confidence of the public that have been lost in the legal system, in lawyers, if we're able to regain that trust, then we are going to have more food on our table and not an alarming drop in revenue, as generally taught by taken as by lawyers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for demystifying that myth. You, in the words of Ambassador Shego Okoyoro, you are a great woman, and we appreciate you. Now, while we come towards the high point of today's presentation, we just wanted to share with us, what are your high points as a mediator? What are some experiences that you find so memorable, that elated you, made you so happy to be part of a mediator, things that encourage your passion? And we also wanted to share with us, do you have any regrets whatsoever becoming a mediator? Or share with us some of the difficult parties, difficult experiences you may have had in your journey as a mediator. So it's a 2-in-1 question. And as usual, we are looking forward to hearing from you.
Okay, I would say on the first part of the question, I'll say when parties resolve and I see parties smiling and relating again, those are my icon. That's when I feel so good. I feel so happy that I'm contributing to the society, that I'm assisting society in resolving disputes and maintaining peace in the society. At the points when you settle matters and then the mediation room turns to a prayer ground, the parties so happy and they're praying and everything, particularly family, when I am able to resolve family dispute, because family is something I'm so passionate about. It's something family is something I love so much. So when I see family, uh, almost going into separation, and then I'm able to resolve the disputes, those are my high points. The point when I say, oh, Suliat, I pat myself in the back and say, yes, you're really doing good. I remember a particular couple, they are young couples, I think 3 or 4 years into the marriage, and the marriage have just become, a shadow of itself. And then they came into mediation. It was really turning. It took a lot of time. But after resolving the dispute, and then the parties invites me for a lunch date, and I see them, laughing and smiling, and 6 months down the lane, they still call me, speak with me, discuss issues, and they're so happy, who's at the time I feel really, really happy, and I feel, yes, I'm so blessed to be a mediator, and this is actually the best profession in the world, maintaining peace in society. The lowest points, I can say the lowest points are, as a woman, the society tends to have this mentality about us, particularly, the male gender. When you are trying to resolve disputes as a woman, I've had a point when a man asked me that, as a woman, do you think you can resolve this dispute? And I said, why do you ask that question? He said, you're a woman now, what do you know? I said, okay, that's fine. I understand what you're trying to say, but at this point in time, I would encourage you to give it a try, and I'm sure a trial would convince you. Let's go into it and let's see how it goes. But at the end of the meeting, at the end of the mediation, he came around and said, Madam Mediator, I would like to see you privately. I said, okay, feel free. And we went into my office, and he was apologizing that, so sorry, I made that comment, 3 months ago when we started this mediation. So I think those are my low points. And then sometimes when lawyers come into the room and they see you as a mediator, as you're a mediator, what do you know they believe, we know it all, and you're a mediator, what do you understand, what do you think the position of the law is, what do you understand with the position of the law? Those are the points I really feel like, am I actually in the right space? But trust me, every time, every day, I remember I'm a mediator. I think I'm blessed to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you for making us understand one of your names that is not so common, Madam Mediator. It's good to know that people call you that in your space. Goes to show that you are not just a self-acclaimed mediator, but people understand
Mrs.
and
Edia.
appreciate, yes, you understand and appreciate what you do. Like we are being told, engineers put on their safety helmet, safety boots, and their attire when they want to carry out engineering related tasks. Medical doctors have to put on their code when they want to do some specific task. Lawyers put on their wig and gown when they want to practice. But mediators, as a mediator, it is a life skill. Mediation is a life skill that must permeate our personality and find expression in all we do. Thank you for bringing that to the fore. While we make plans to draw curtain on today's memorable webinar, I just want to ask, you said something relating to having a strong type of family mediation. We all know that beyond being an accredited mediator, one can take a bold step forward to specialize in some strands of mediation. We know we have mediators that are very strong in communal mediation. We have those that are very strong in family mediation. We know those that have love for workplace mediation. Now, what is the place of specialization in mediation? We also know we have mediation advocates. Now, please, Your Excellency, if you don't mind, we would love you to speak to the place of understanding your strengths as a mediator in the choice of matters that are being assigned to you. I hope you got that question correct.
Yes, I do. Yes, yes, specialization in mediation is very important because as a person, we all know our strengths and we all know our weaknesses. You know, when I started the mediation journey at the real estate multi-door courthouse, you know, every case, you know, all manners of cases forming, matrimonial, contracts, and corporate, everything lands becoming tenancy, recovery, and all that. You know, but as time goes on, I was able to identify myself. I was able to identify my areas of strengths and my area of weaknesses. For once, commercial disputes, communal dispute is one that I know that I don't have so much strength in. So I tend to now break it down to my area of strength. You know, as a banker, it is normal that it's natural that you will be so comfortable handling, you know, figures. As an accountant, will be comfortable handling figures. As a lawyer, for me, for instance, I think the last time I did mathematics or figures or anything, maybe it was in secondary school. So if you refer a matter to me and I go through it, and I found out that I would have to go through books of accounts, I know that that's not my area. I would immediately write a letter to say, this is I would not be able to take up this mediation for this so reason. Because I know that if I have to, if in the matter it will involve one when I have to, you know, break down figures, it's not my area of specialization, it's not my area of strength. I rather give it to somebody that I know that can manage it properly. Because in mediation, one thing that must not go wrong is the mediator not understanding the issues between the parties, not understanding what the problem is. So if you have to deal with a matter in which you don't have so much knowledge, it affects your effectiveness in handling the matter. And if care is not taken, you might not be able to move parties to a solution, to a resolution. So I would say specialization plays a lot of role in mediation, and I would encourage specialization in mediation. For once, I love resolving family dispute because I love family so much, so, and I develop a lot of interest. I've done a lot. Corporate and commercial disputes, yes, I do it a lot. But when you bring communal disputes, I will tell you, oh, this is not my area of strength. I would like to that you appoint somebody else. Because if I don't understand disputes, I don't understand issues, I can't break down the issue to a 10-year-old and the person understand, then that's not a case I should take on, and it's not going to help the parties, it's not going to help the mediation. So I would say specialization plays a big role. So I would encourage that mediator identify their areas of strengths and weaknesses, and then be able to choose which area they really want to specialize in, that they think, yes, they are doing good, and they can actually flourish and do a better thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Someone once said to me that mediators are peace ambassadors trying to make lives better for humanity. But within the mediation profession, we have a lot of matters to mediate amongst ourselves. I want you to speak to, what do you think, or how do you rate the level of cooperation among ADR practitioners? Do you think we have a strong network? Do you think we relate the way we ought to relate, regardless of the institute we find ourselves? So you've been in the industry for a period of years. What is your take on cohesion, collaboration, assistance, understanding, and tolerance amongst ADR practitioners?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. As somebody who have managed an alternative court-connected alternative dispute resolution center, I make bold to say that mediators, yes, we collaborate well. Because while I'm there, I had a lot of collaboration with several institutions, and I have a lot of collaboration with several mediators. And I can tell you, I don't think I have a record of anyone I've called on to say I need this assistance, and the person have not jumped up into it and assist me. I think our profession as mediator, there is a way it influences the kind of person we are. Me, for once, I would say I've become a better person being a mediator. Even in my family, sometimes my siblings would tell me, our mediator is here, she would handle it. So I can say our profession as a way it has influenced us, and I've collaborated a lot. So I made bold to say that, yes, person to person, I've collaborated with several mediators, and it's been really, really excellent. And also institution collaboration. Yes, I was able to do a lot of that, and I still do a lot of that. And I think we collaborate well. I think the only thing we need to do is just like this institution we have now. We need an institution or an association that will bring us together more, that would make us collaborate and relate better. Something that would bring us together as one. And I believe we have several people trying to do that, just like you are trying to do. But I think one thing that they need to take note of the more is that we have different interests. We have different interests we have to protect, from institution to institution. So now aligning that interests is the point I think we need to look into. Align, synergizing different interests, each institution of each particular person is what we really need to look into now. Because if we are able to identify the interests of each institution, we're able to identify the interests of each mediator, would be able to synergize it and then come up with something that can bind us together, that can make us relate more. okay, if I'm able to satisfy I know your interest, and I'm able to satisfy the interest through that institution or through that association, then you would want to relate more with that association. You want to contribute more with that association. You want to collaborate more. I think it's high time institutions start coming together to organize webinars. Two institutions, three institutions coming together to organize webinars, to organize trainings, because the way we present ourselves to the public is the way the public is also going to see us. If the public does not see so much collaboration between ADR institutions, there is a way, there's a feedback it's sent to them. So I think it's high time institutions start coming together to organize webinars, to organize workshops. We have a lot of resource persons amongst us, but it's high time we start coming together, to organize something like this. Someone from this institution, someone from this institution, let's come together and talk about a particular issue, let's dialogue and everything. So, and then we can come together and organize trainings, even though and organize trainings for people who are interested in doing trainings. We can come together and organize trainings for our members. The truth is, a lot of people have this mediation training, but they don't even have a platform to get to practice it. It's just on their CV. So it is high time we come together, we hold ourselves, and it will bring out more strength in us, and it will assist us in flourishing better and even thriving better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We can't thank you less for finding time to bring us to speed on issues regarding alternative dispute resolution. As we all know, this platform, Association for Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners, is a platform integrating different ADR practitioners, regardless of your institutional affiliation, making us to understand that together we can do things better. In the words of our revered ambassador of appreciation, Ambassador Segun Ogunyomo, he said, and I quote, "We are first humans before any other thing. No matter what we think divides us, we should understand that we are first humans. So there's something that unites us. There's something that brings us together. It's not a battle of supremacy, who is strong, who is big, who is weak. No, it takes two to tango. It is our expectation that even as we make preparations to enter into a new year, we see more collaborations with different institutes within the space of alternative dispute resolution. Let us come together and do better. If indeed we are assisting humanity, making the world to become a better place, then we can also enhance the chances of our individual institutes. Noble Lord, Your Excellencies, even as we make preparations to call it a day on this exciting webinar, please permit me to just draw attention to some of the activities that will be happening in different institutes between now and the end of the year. Permit me to begin with the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, ICMC. The annual conference and induction holds on the 26th of November, 2024. And there's an array of highly esteemed speakers. We have the immediate past Vice President of Nigeria as the keynote speaker, and so many other revered speakers. And I'm excited to make us know that our own Sir Valentino Burrow the conveyor of the Studied Conference of Mediation Advocates, and the Association of Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners is among the endless list of speakers that will be speaking in this year's annual conference and induction of the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators. We also have the Settlement House ADR Training Institute. They'll be holding a mediation skills training and certification program from the 26th to 30th of November 2024. Now you can send in inquiries for more details. The Nigerian Institute of Chartered Arbitrators, their 2024 conference comes up from 28th to 29th November 2024. You can send in inquiries, and they have an array of speakers. Several speakers will be on ground to make the event a memorable one. We also have this notification from the Kaduna Polytechnic, a notification regarding admission into Diploma in Law program. Now, we also have this notification from Jesus College Arbitration and Mediation Certification Training. Is a virtual edition that will be taken up on the 10th of December to climax on the 13th of December 2024. We also have the Restorative Justice and Victim Offender Mediation Certificate Program that we hold January 14th to January 17th, 2025. Registration is free. You can send in your notification for inquiries. Now, last but not the least, we have the Africa Center for Collaborative Dispute Resolution in collaboration with Settlement House ADR Training Institute, SATI, presents African Mediation Conference 2024, 20th to 21st December 2024. Be part of this great initiative. We want to appreciate every one of you for finding time to join us. We do not take your attendance for granted, knowing fully well that everyone in the ADR space is busy at this point in time, making preparations for conferences, for inductions, and other activities marked to climax the year. We have been on the fourth webinar put together by the Association of Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners. And today our topic has been insight into the life of a mediator. And we've been privileged to have none other than a highly celebrated and decorated ADR practitioner to the core, Suliat Olamide Salaudin. Thank you for spending your precious moment with us. And permit me to also add that our speaker for today is married to an ADR practitioner. Her husband is a mediator and also an arbitrator. I will not be surprised if any of the children decides to delve into the ADR world. Noble Lords, Your Excellency, thank you for
Thank you
making
so much.
today a reality. Looking
Thank
at
you
the
so
roll
much.
call, we have practitioners and ADR enthusiasts from different parts of Nigeria and outside Nigeria. Thank you. Please, we want to encourage you, if you've not dropped notification making us know where you're joining us from, please do well to drop your name and location on the chat box. And if you do wish to get the recording of this webinar, please include your email address. That will enable us to do justice to disseminating the link that will enable you to watch this webinar. Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, we have been on for over an hour, and we have few minutes to end this edition. It may just be the last for the year 2024. and I'm excited that we were able to do this together. We'll be welcoming our speaker shortly for our final words. We've been asking you questions and we have been streamlining your response based on the traffic of our question. But shortly, we want to give you an opportunity to freestyle. In your closing words, what do you have to say to everyone that has joined today and everyone that will be watching the recorded version? Your final words regarding the insight into the life of a mediator. We'd love to hear your closing remarks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the Association of Multi-Law Courthouse Practitioner for bringing me here. The Multi-Law Courthouse Practitioner is a group that I joined, I think, 2022, and I can confirm that I've been able to learn a lot from the association. Association is such is a blessing to us. At least it gives me an insight into what is happening across Nigeria, across the globe, what's we're doing in ADR, and how much influence ADR has had in maintaining peace globally. So as a mediator, I would say I'm so proud to be a mediator. It's gladness my heart every time I do that one, because of how it has influenced me. And the fact that I know that as a mediator, I'm contributing to the peace, to maintaining peace globally. So thank you so much, the institution, for doing this. I look forward to more collaboration in the future, and I would be so glad to be here again at any point in time that the institution, the association works on me. So thank you so much for everyone that have taken time to attend this webinar. We look forward to having you as a member of the Association of Mediator, Multi-Law Courthouse Practitioner. Is a place you need to be. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone. And please to have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah. Before we call it a day, we have a message from one of the participants. She says, wishing Mrs. ADR a prosperous practice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have a new name now. And may I just quickly announce that I was privileged to have an interaction with the husband of our speaker today, and he has graciously accepted an invite to speak with us in a subsequent edition. So we are privileged to have Madam ADR today. I'm sure in one of our future editions, we will have Oga ADR.
Thank you so much.
Okay. To our noble speaker, there's a question on the chat box. Madam ADR, are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I am. Just search
My brother,
and Salamide Salaudin.
I'm still in.
Your Excellency, sir, it will be an honor to have you close us in this webinar, if you don't mind. Sorry for all the troubles. We know we trouble you a lot, and thanks for always being there, being a formidable shoulder for us to soar higher within the ADR space. If you don't mind, sir, it will be great we get some closing remarks from you, Your Excellency.
Please permit me to pass on the baton to His Excellency, the founder of this platform. His Excellency, Sir Bruno. Your Excellency, please. A word from you will add value and will give us hope. Your Excellency, please.
Your Excellency, sir, Valentino Burrow, the baton has been passed to you, sir. It will be great to hear from you.
Well, let me say right away that I had asked the presenter to allow me to stay behind the screen because of what I am doing, and that is why I cannot show on the screen this evening. But I want to sincerely thank the speaker and the presenter for a very exciting and impactful webinar. It's been a rewarding time, quite worth the while. And for all those who have found time to attend, I think along the way I saw His Lordship Justice Raleigh Harriman, but I don't know if she's still on the call. So I thank you all for what the Association of Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners has become. At its inception, when I first mooted the idea, there were a few people that did not think it would fly. But today, the results speak for themselves. And I want to particularly thank Ambassador Ogunyowo, who has been solidly behind the project and has given us all of the support. So many other eminent professionals have contributed to what we are today. I only hope that this is just the beginning. And indeed, sooner than later, if you are not on the Association of Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners, you probably need to ask yourself a few questions. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions.
Thank you so much, sir. Noble Lords, Your Excellencies, we've made it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I've dropped the link to my LinkedIn accounts on the chat box, so anyone can check my LinkedIn accounts link. It's there on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Suliat Olamide Salauddin. Noble Lords, highly esteemed ADR practitioners and ADR enthusiasts, we have spent the last 2 hours, 120 minutes together on a remarkable journey. It couldn't have been better. Thank you for being there. We had so many persons joining in from different states in Nigeria and outside the shores of Nigeria. Please do well to drop your name, location, and email address if you're interested in getting the recording of this webinar. The link to become a member of the association, talking about the Association of Multi-Door Courthouse Practitioners, has been dropped on the chat box. Do well to click it and do well to share the link with others. I'm delighted to bring this webinar to a close. Thank you so much for making it a possibility. It can only get better. We can only get stronger. We can only go higher. It is forward ever and backward never. Without you, we cannot be here. And we are open to suggestions, open to insights that will make our activities more impactful. Looking forward to remarkable collaborations from different ADR institutes, and wishing you a glorious end of the year. Thank you. We appreciate you.